it explains what the difference are. Like if I have to go to an evidentiary hearing, you know what I mean? I'll be able to have all the information there, So yeah.
I guess there's no echo on the other end. What I'm seeing, there's no echo over there.
No, I just told you it's better. Did you hear me when I said it's better? Yeah. So whatever you did before, it fixed it. It fixed it.
I think it's my headphones. I think it's because of the way the mic is on it and everything. I think it's the headphones. They're only good for the computer. Mm-hmm. But it helps me because of my hearing aids, like I can hear better. And
yeah.
So, okay. All right, we're good.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I would think that it would be the echo in your headphones because they're not actually made. You probably will have to purchase some that are actually made for that, Are those ones made for it, for life?
Yeah, they're made for gaming.
Oh.
That's weird. Well, I guess that one ain't gonna work. Save changes. There we go. Yeah, so tomorrow is your stuff, you said? Friday?
Yeah, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. I'm gonna go.
So that's another effect of all this is the time off work that parents have to take. I mean, you're taking time off work, that hurts your paycheck. Most parents, they can't afford to take even, a couple hours off of work because, one, if you're paying an attorney or you got childcare or, you got bills to pay. And for people to take, when they drag this out over time, years and years or months and months, that's time you have to take off work and you only get so many hours you can take off with paid time nowadays. So if you only get like 40 hours of paid time, I mean, that adds up really fast if you have to go to court once a month.
Yep, it does. And that doesn't also include all your other stuff like, learning the lingo, educating yourself on the process. All that stuff.
Yeah. How have you been doing with that, with the legalese and stuff?
It seems like it's okay. I mean, I've had a lot of experience already, so it's not that bad. I just got to make sure I word it correctly when I go tomorrow. That's the one thing. Even ChatGPT will tell you, make sure you word it correctly. Make sure you word it correctly. But I should be fine. I have all my notes and then, the child has been with me since October, So
a lot going in your favor. I mean, if you guys can work it out, that's always for the best. But I think either way, it's going to go a lot more in your favor than I think you're.
So the other thing I wanted to talk to people about is, okay, so if you do, a lot of people did reach out to me to ask me about the provisions, which is fine. You guys can come to an agreement between both spouses, right? And submit it to the courts. But there is still the best interest factor that is on the table. So if the judge or anybody else determines that the child is in harm's way, or if there's any other issues, then they can go ahead and do that too. But the thing about it is, even when you have these provisions in place, you still have to be civil. And a lot of people are trying to be, I guess you would say, unhinged, totally unhinged. You guys got to think a little bit clearer, step back, ask another person's perspective. And also, too, the other thing with me is right when my child was delivered to me, I made sure I checked what the state laws are and what was required, because you can get a custody interference put on you big time, like super, super fast, and you will end up going to jail. So when you have go ahead.
Even if the other parent, agrees, that can still be held against you. Even if the other parent says, well, I agreed and this is what was going on, they're gonna be like, well, you still kind of went against the order, and you're right, it can be used against you.
Yeah, so like I stood my ground and I knew what the order said and what had done. So I actually went to the court and asked them, okay, did this other agreement get submitted? There was no other agreement submitted because it was due to a lawyer clerk issue. They never submitted it to the court. So we're going off the previous order, and if the judge asks you, why was your child with you? You're going to have to say, what, the child was with me because, number one, I contacted whoever I needed to contact. The child was placed with me temporarily. You have to make sure you dot all that stuff down,
Right.
Because you can be held in contempt for not following the court order, all of that stuff, And like right here, one of the things is immediately responded to disclosures and contacted law enforcement. So sometimes you do have to contact all of that, contact law enforcement. And then you have, in my case, I had a certain amount of time to submit stuff to the courts too. So I only had, I think it was 30 days that I had researched. So I submitted this in November, I think it is. Let's see, hold on. Okay, so my child came to live with me on October 21st or October 12th. I submitted it on November 14th. It would have been submitted earlier, but I was having e-file issues.
Yeah, e-filing is not easy. I mean, that's one of the hardest things, because when I was going through my case, I want to say I was like 3/4 through it, and they introduced the e-filing. And even lawyers were having a hard time trying to understand it, even though they've been doing a lot of e-filing. It was something new for everybody. And I would file something and it'd get kicked back. I'd file something, it'd get kicked back. And it was like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a paralegal. It was a really hard thing to kind of grasp when you've been doing it on paper for so long. You kind of learn that way. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, guess what? We're not doing it that way. Now you have to do it this way. And I feel really bad for some people that even today having to e-file, because my husband being a veteran, we work with a lot of veterans, and it's hard for some people. That there's a lot of people out there, and I know everybody thinks that everybody has, social media and everybody has technology, but it's just not true. I managed a AT&T store for quite a while, and you would be surprised, even the people our age and younger, that go, I don't want that technology. I just want a phone. And so there's so many people out there that don't understand it. And I think it just made it harder for people to be pro se, and made it harder for people to learn and understand the system and how to file, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the good thing to it is like, okay, so I use it when my big packets. I don't use it because I don't have a scanner for it. Like I don't have a feeder. If I had a feeder that I could scan it, I will submit one document. Like, my printer can scan a document, upload it. It's totally easy. I'll do like my proof of service. I had to do a clerical modification, so I did that. Like stuff like that is totally easy to do, So that's the good thing is like, that's the good thing is it's easy to do. It's just, like the big packets, it can be more of a headache because you got form. What is it? Like, say, for example, in California, you're submitting all these different forms. So you have to submit FL 300, FL 311, FL whatever. You know what I mean? Like all in a big packet. And then you send it to them and they'll be like, okay, that's wrong. You need to resubmit it. And it's like, dude, are you serious right now? Like, it's such a headache. It's such a headache. It can be a headache, but the thing about it is the pros is it's easy to do. Instead of me having to run down and serve or file the proof of service, I can do it online, you know? And so if it only takes me spending down the big documents and like the big declaration, then that's a little bit easier for me, you know?
Right.
Went and looked at my live on whatchamacallit, on Facebook. They said I can't go live on Facebook yet. Did you hear me?
Yeah, what was that?
My YouTube. I opened it on my phone and it said you were on it.
Yeah, because I've got it going live. I've got the StreamYard going. So what I did is I pulled up my moderator account and I can put us live on there, and then I can stream it through my StreamYard to Facebook and YouTube. I'm figuring this stuff out, girl. I'm trying. So I figured out why we couldn't stream through StreamYard with TikTok. It's because TikTok has not, they're just developing how you can use it with OBS, but I don't have that. But they're just now developing, and so not everybody gets a stream key. It's kind of like, you know, as they roll out new things. So I am not one of those people that has a stream key yet. So I just got to wait on that. But I found a loophole in the way around it. So that's where we're now. So just if anybody's watching on any platform, you can go to Healing Out Loud 2 on TikTok. You can come to mine, which is Mother-in-Law's Nightmare, or you can see me live on Facebook or YouTube under Mad Manda.
I'm trying the Facebook. I'm trying the Facebook live, see if it does anything. So I haven't tried it yet.
Okay. I was going to say, or you can just share my live to your Facebook.
No, I'm going on my YouTube channel.
Oh,
I can't go live on Facebook. I can't go live on Facebook yet.
Why?
Because mine's not, it hasn't been 60 days. Remember, I didn't have a Facebook for a long time.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, you can always go and share my Facebook live to your page.
Yeah, I'm doing the other one right now. I'm doing the YouTube. So I can't do it anymore.
We'll figure it out. You're just gonna have to, if you're using your computer, because now you're gonna have to move it away from your speaker.
No, it's not doing anything.
Okay.
It's on a thing. See it?
Oh,
it's on an arm.
Got it. Perfect. Look at you go, girl. You upgrading.
It's on the arm. I have 2 of them.
Nice. So I kind of made a decision with what I'm going to do with my stuff. I don't really want to talk about too much of it here, but I will say I am going to follow through with a civil suit. And from that point, I think with all the immunities that are going on, I'm going to kind of let that part go, just because of, I'm going to file the complaint. I can still file the complaint, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. And I think I'm just going to go with the civil part of it and push that and leave it at that because of the age of the child. And I can use that civilly, whatever happens, I can take that to my representatives and use that as a platform for change. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and I know I'm being kind of weird about talking about it, but I have to be really careful at this point because I am going civil against certain parties. But once that's done and goes through, I could use that as a kind of a outline for what happens in family court and how it happens. And that would be really good to take to my legislators and my state reps to show that it does happen. And so I think that's kind of the way I'm going to go with things. But, and then as far as my court and my judge, I think he's so old, he's going to be retiring anyway soon. Which would be,
we're not going to go after him after all.
Well, there's really no point. They have full immunity. I'd just be wasting my time in court. Yeah. But I think, like I said, with the civil suit, that's going to lay the foundation, and that's going to help make change in other places, especially considering what happened with the collusion, which I don't like using that word, but the collusion that happened with everything. And that way, that allows me to use my freedom of speech and speak about my case and speak about what happened with that judge in that county, which Chris and I have decided that we are going to, Van Allsburg is retiring, Chris. So that will give us more of an opportunity to speak freely about our county and our case. And then I don't have to worry about being so careful, as long as, you know, I'm using my rights and doing it properly.
Yeah.
So there is, sorry, he's asking me a question. So there is a term limit of age with family court judges. They can't work until they're 90.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah. They can't work. It's not like your congressional. They can't work until they're 90. They have to retire at some point, and they have to decide either they're going to retire fully or they can go into a different specter of the court. From what I'm understanding. So I could be wrong. I could be reading it wrong, but from my understanding is they can only work to a certain point as a chief judge in the family court. And then if they retire from that, they can go into a different specter of the court, or they can just fully retire. But that's just how I'm reading it. So I could be reading it wrong. That's something Chris and I will go over, I guess, tomorrow. But that is just, that's how I'm reading it. I could be wrong.
Yeah. That's understandable. I mean, well, as long as you just do your homework, I'm sure you'll figure it out. And you have Chris there too to help you. So. Oh
yeah, he's getting back in the swing of things. He just doesn't have a lot of time on his hands. I mean, he's going through a lot with his own stuff, and you know, being an over-the-road truck driver is just hard. You know, especially when you don't have anybody to really lean on. You know, that's just I'd like to do as much as I can to help him, and he knows that. I think they would have to elect that in, Chris. I think they would have to, he's asking, so who would be chief judge? I think that because that's an elected position, I think he would I think it would have to be voted in. Am I right about that? Because they're voted in.
They're voted.
Who would be, if he retired, who would be,
so they retire, and then they have to appoint a new judge. So
and then they would vote, right? Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, they would have to hold a campaign and vote.
Yeah, like I have a new judge right now that just recently got appointed, and I kind of like him. He seems like a pretty cool judge. But you know what I was thinking?
Cool to get somebody that's non-biased like that actually listens to both sides of the parties.
Yeah, he seems a pretty cool guy. Like, I really do like him. Like, I get a good feeling from him, you know, because like when I told him about the issue about the other attorney being very nonchalant, you know, like kind of like giving me the cold shoulder, he actually put it in the notes, you know. So that's why I got told off after court, because I made him look bad, you know.
Right.
And then the judge even said, and turned to the opposing counsel's lawyer, the parents are getting along. That's what we want, you know, because he's a new judge to family court, and that's what they're actually supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be helping us come to these conclusions and these agreements. And it seems like a lot of these judges do not care. And I understand it's their daytime job, but oh my God, it can be just way too much. Like I've had, this is now 13 and a half years of family court, with my 10 years with my 2 adult kids, and then now 3.5 years with this one. And it's like I've lost count how many lawyers and how many judges that I've dealt with, but I've seen the same judges the second time around, though, because they're still in there. But it's kind of interesting.
I just wish that, because of all the federal funding and everything, I just wish that they would make it that all states have to work under one guideline. You don't have the option to have one state have the rebuttable presumption. One state, gets to do it this way. Another state gets to do it this way. I feel like every state, if it's going to be federal, it should be under one whole umbrella that you have to follow these guidelines, and you don't get to pick and choose how it works. I think it would be fair for everybody at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be, but I don't think we can. It's just like they said back in the day, like we covered this in another live, remember? And it's just the courts went up too fast, and like it was just put together way too fast. And then even I posted something the other day saying that we need to go through and overturn some rulings that are at the Supreme Court level, because they're saying that they don't have jurisdiction over the state stuff. So who are we supposed to go to if we don't have anybody we can turn to? Like if the state level is not taking into consideration, like what's going on, or due process, or child custody, or our child's, or violating our child's rights, or violating our rights, who are we supposed to go to? We have the DOJ, which isn't doing, poop and doing nothing. Yeah, right. And then you have we're supposed to go to the state, courts, and I guess the federal courts don't have no jurisdiction at all with any of that from my research that I got. But I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. And it's just like with that one ruling with the Supreme Court saying that they have no jurisdiction over the state courts, it's like you have nobody to turn to. You're screwed. Either way, you have to just adopt whatever the states give you, which is complete BS, because how long have I been trying to fight for this to maintain my parenting rights, For the last 3.5 years, I have been trying to reverse the silver bullet that was put on me 3.5 years ago. And I'm basically at the point now where I'm trying to be like, okay, should I go 50 or should I do this? And there's so much decisions to make right now. But it's also too, you got to understand that even as parents, we can't make the decisions because you put the courts into your life. You put my family is into the courts now. They have to rule on the best interest. If you look it up anywhere, they said that the parents can agree as long as it's okay for the child and safe for the child, and they feel it's for the best interest of the child. If they say that it's not for the best interest, then they could pull that child from any one of you guys. Could pull it from any one of us. And that's why you have sometimes as these parents, they can't make a decision and they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and keep playing and keep doing this and being, what is it? Being, I'm trying to figure out the word, being very
indecisive.
Yeah, indecisive or disgruntled, or thinking that they can go in there and tell the mediators stuff, tell the judges stuff. No, you have to still go in there and be respectful. Either way you look at it, you still have to go in there. Okay, they have the authority. You have, say, for example, okay, we're going to play some role playing. Say Amanda's the judge, right? I want to divorce my husband, which is over here, and I'm the wife. Amanda's the judge. I go to Amanda and I give her a piece of paper. I'm like, okay, here. here's my piece of paper that says my whole life, you know, and what's going on. So you get that piece of paper and you go through it and you read my whole life and you got to make a decision within 15 minutes, right? And that's the thing, is people don't understand that, and they need to make sure that they get it through their head. There is no way for them to make a decision on that and know what's best for you, even though they say, quote, best interest of the child, you know, like really, really honestly.
That's why they bring in the GALs. That's why they bring in the mediators. That's why, but Chris just said, he goes Granville versus Troxel, or Troxel versus Granville. That literally states, you know, that's a Supreme Court ruling that really the government cannot tell us what's best for our children, but they do it anyways.
But see, the reason being is you petition the courts. Okay, so California, okay, we talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this before. Okay, all these Hollywood people, right? They don't go through the courts. They do everything out of court. They do, even though they are, sometimes there is situations where they do decide to go through the courts, and it does not end very well for them at all, you know? And so it's best for them just to agree. And what is it? The old saying is to agree to disagree, to agree to disagree, or something like that. You know, like the old saying was agree to disagree, or disagree to agree, or like whatever it is. But like, you just gotta, like, it is what it is. That's the situation you're in. Accept it. I cannot control what happens at the other household. The other parent cannot control what happens there. The only thing you can do is you can petition the court to change and modify, okay? If the child is safe with you, you're not gonna go in there GUN blazing, you know, and be like, hey, you know what, emergency ex parte, I want my child, da-da-da-da, You're not gonna do that, because if you do that, it can also get flipped on you, you know, and you'll end up getting screwed either way. It's better to take baby steps, you know?
So the way my husband always explains it is, he goes, it's a big elephant, right? You got this huge elephant. You can't take one bite and have that whole elephant. You have to take one small bite at a time. But here's the other thing. Here's the flip side of that is, when you go to the court, when you file, you are inviting them into your life. You are inviting them to make the decisions. You are inviting them to say, make that choice. And like you said, it can go either way. I mean, they can see you being hyped up and upset and stressed out and say, yeah, that's not a good parent, because they don't do well under pressure. So the other parent's just sitting there with a straight face and seems to do well under pressure. And even though you're a great parent, you're an awesome parent, you've been the main caretaker, the whole 9 yards, they're going to go, but you don't do good under pressure. So we're going to give the child to the other parent. So there's so many factors, like you said, that go into it. And even when they are of age, like your son's age or my daughter's age, even if they were to say, and I just read this today, so this could go either way in any state, I guess, just because everybody's got different rules, is even if my daughter was to go to court and say, and she's 16, I want to live with my mom now, I don't want to live with my dad. The only way that could happen at her age was if she ran away, came to my house and said, I don't want to be at my dad's. It wouldn't be as simple as me filing saying, okay, my child does not want to be there anymore, we want to switch. Because if he disagreed, that's a whole new fight. And we've only got 2 years to go in the court. So why am I going to fight for 2 more years? I would be better off saying, you know what, just stay where you're at. You got 2 more years. It doesn't make sense unless it's life, limb, or eyesight is what I say, you know, unless it's a major emergency.
Yeah, somebody put on my side, it is never in the best interest of the child, one of the comments that they put. And you are right. Sometimes it's not in the best interest, but like our little role playing skit we did here, like I'm telling Amanda to choose in 15 minutes time, skim over my notes, you know, Figure out what
If
it
I
is.
was a- If I was a judge and this happened, I would say to you, and this would be the best thing any judge could say to two parents. I shouldn't have to tell you how to parent. Obviously, you parented well for this amount of time. Come up with a conclusion. And if you guys can't really work it out, then I'm going to make the decision and neither one of you is going to like it. So,
Yeah.
or one of you is not going to like it. So I would suggest you go back. I'm not the parent here of this child. You two are. Obviously, you got married for a reason.
Yeah.
You had a baby for a reason. You worked together for this long for a reason. You're mad at each other, but let's do what's in the best interest of the child here. And that's what I believe a good judge should say.
And that's what mediation is supposed to be there for. Mediation is supposed to be there to help both parents come to a decision. In California, it's court ordered. A lot of states, it's not court ordered. I think in Florida, it's not court ordered. I think that we came to that conclusion. Is it court ordered in Michigan that you have to go to mediation?
No, and I can't believe how much money I am finding out people are paying for mediation, because when I went through mine in 2014, I think he paid $350 and I paid $350, and that was it. It was a set fee.
Why are you paying for it? It should be free.
No, we had to pay for it. And then when I pulled the financials, which was really weird because somebody told me to go and pull the financials. In the very beginning, it was like maybe 3 months into it, when I did pull those financials, it was really weird. And when I tried to question about it, nobody wanted to answer. Everybody kind of backed off from me. There was a line in there that said that my ex had paid like $1,000 for a bench warrant. And I'm like, why would he pay $1,000 for a bench warrant when he's the one that has custody? You gave him an ex parte. He's the one that has her. So why is he paying? Which made me start to think about it lately, going back through all my paperwork and all this stuff, really looking at things 10 years later from a whole different set of eyeballs and mindset. Is he paid that court. Somebody paid that court for him to get the ex parte, because one, he had an open DV that he was charged with, and under Michigan, so we don't have is it presumption of rebuttal or rebuttal of presumption? I always get this screwed up.
Rebuttal of presumption.
Rebuttal of presumption. So we don't have that. We have the 12 best interests of the child. And that was one of the main ones, was DV. So how was he granted an ex parte with an open and fully charged? That's something that, and then seeing that, it just kind of layered it for me. Going back through all this, which is what brings in, and we'll talk about that at a later time, the civil suit.
Yeah.
But the civil suit, just so everybody knows, is not against the court or the judge. There's other parties involved in my case that made happen what happened. And because there's new evidence that was found out, there's a statute of limitations. But because there was new evidence that was found out, it starts my statute of limitations over again, which allows me to do what I'm doing. I just can't give a lot of information. I can say certain things, I just can't say too much. So,
yeah, which is understandable. I'm trying to see if I can find the different states. Okay, so states, California, it's mandatory mediation for child custody and visitation dispute. Florida requires for contested divorces for mediation. They have to go to mediation. And financial issues. Illinois, mandatory mediation for contested custody and parenting time. Texas, some require, some states or some counties require mediation. What? That's weird, huh? In Texas?
Yeah.
And New York, mediation.
Did a bunch of stuff just pass in Texas? Didn't Robert Garza just get a bunch of stuff passed down there? I think he did. It says in Michigan,
though, it says in Michigan, court often require mediation before a contested custody hearing. In New York, but that's all it says. It doesn't say any of the other states.
It's really weird because like you and I talked about, and I think somebody we know we had talked about with the mediation isn't supposed to give the judge any type of what do we call that? They aren't supposed to give the judge any, we want it this way or that way. A mediation is just a negotiation. They're not supposed to go to the judge and give a referral.
No, they do in California. California has tiers. I already told you that. They have tiers.
Right. I know you guys got like 10 million.
They have a California tier system in mediation. I think there's 4 for mediation in California, which is insanity. Like, are you serious right now? We have like all the different tiers. I think Scott asked me the other day when we were on our last live. I think I just threw away the paper too. I had it, but I think I threw it away already. Bane already dumped the trash. But yeah, it's we have 4 different tiers.
So in Michigan, we're working on House Bill 5211, which is trying to change it from the 12 best interest factors to the rebuttable presumption. And I know that's what that is because I know quite a few people looked at that and they were like, well, they're not really changing anything. But that's when you go back to it and go, it's a big elephant. You have to take one bite at a time, one small bite at a time. And I think the best thing to take is going for that, because it should be 50-50 automatically, unless there is, like I say, life, limb, or eyesight, or there's some emergency, but that has to be proven. And that has to be allowed. You have to be allowed to put evidence in court, which that's one of the biggest things. Like I had a legal aid attorney. I had a DV. My legal aid attorney didn't even do the job she was supposed to, which is why I let her go. And then I find out 8 years later, after I'm doing things a second time, the ORS assessment, the psychological evaluations, everything, that all of this was already done once before, but the lawyer I had that was a legal aid lawyer never submitted anything, which is why my case got drug out even more after I fired her, because I'm like, I don't understand. This evidence is there. Why is nobody looking at it? And then I find out once I pay 80 grand for a lawyer that it was never submitted by the lawyer that should have submitted it.
Yeah, they'll do that. That happened in my case too. And then they throw the ball back and forth. Oh, it was your fault. You were supposed to file. Oh, no, it was your fault. It was your turn to file. I don't know. That's why they put in the notes. In the notes, it actually says who was supposed to be filing and who wasn't. So.
Right. Well, I've had transcripts that were altered. I've had, all kinds of stuff that happened in my case, wanting transcripts and wanting all this stuff. And they've altered things, even though I knew for a fact that the transcripts were altered, because I had people in court with me that were like, no, that's what was said. I had proof,
Yeah.
So
I don't know, but the one that I was telling you about that Robert Garza was trying to put in was that they all go to mediation. You would not go. His bill, supposedly this bill that he's proposing, is he wants everybody to go to mediation first, and then if it becomes a contested issue, then they'll go before the judge. Which I hate mediation.
That's kind of a waste of time if you already have the 50-50 presumption. That's just giving the courts more money because they're going to charge you for it. And then they're going to be like, okay, now we're going to send you to our person, because a lot of states don't allow you to use your own mediator or agree. If you're fighting, you're not going to agree on one. So you have to use the ones that the courts give you.
The way it works is you can use your own mediator, a lawyer. A lawyer can act as a mediator like the movie stars do. So they act as a mediator, they submit their stuff. You can submit an agreement through a paralegal. You don't even need a lawyer to represent you in family court, honestly. But a lot of people, that's the route we were supposed to go through. Is we had an agreement. I had paid the $500 for a paralegal to submit the agreement to the California courts before the silver bullet was enacted. So once the silver bullet is enacted, everything is off the table. All your agreement and everything go away. So my thing is this: how come the courts do not go back and say, look, you had an agreement once everything is unfounded, and build off of that? You know, why do they have to make it more of an issue? Why do they have to stir the pot continuously? Why do they have to make like all this craziness all the time? You know, like it's not worth it. Like it's just so many people in our society is just going broke by this. You know,
It's money.
that's money.
We're going
Yeah.
broke and they're making money. I mean, if I was a celebrity or a movie star, I guess I got $20 million to throw at a court case. But these celebrities that are winning are also getting $5 million, $20 million a month in child support, when we all know it doesn't cost that much to raise a kid. I mean, I think it's like over a lifetime, $250,000 over a lifetime to raise a kid from point A to point B. So, you know, most people aren't celebrities, though. And that's what you got to look at, is most people are people like you and I that go to work, you know, 40 to 60 hours a week and have to struggle and, you know, to make a life for our kids. So I think when you, just my opinion, I think the whole celebrity side of it, it's just a completely different world over that, you know.
Yeah, but I think the courts are going down the pot too. I'm not the courts, but the Hollywood is going down the pot. It's everybody's losing that way.
California in general, I mean, Hollywood's pretty much moved to Texas at this point. And, you know, I think that happened a few years back when people were moving out of California. I think it was during COVID when people started moving out of California. And I think Newsom was Newsom governor during COVID? Yeah, he was during COVID, right? Yes.
Yeah, he's been our governor for a while.
Yeah, he's been trying to change. He tried to change it. He was like, well, if you have a business here and you move it and you move out of California, they were trying to pass something where you still had to pay taxes in California. I was like, what? Yeah. Like, if that's not a money grab, I don't know what is. That was horrible.
He tried to pass it. They tried to pass gas tax or something like that. All kinds of crazy things. There is like so many. And I guess I don't understand why they're not going after the people that did the COVID stuff. You know what I mean? Because like they're saying now that was all a fraud, right? So in all the districts, I don't know if you know, for all the school districts right now, they're facing a major deficit because of what happened during COVID. So we're going to have to all these districts are going to have to lay off like campus assistants, like home liaisons, like other people that like preschool teachers, like all this stuff, because they have to make up for that deficit that they made, all the money that was shelled out during COVID, you know? And it's like, okay, why don't you hold those people responsible for what they did? Like, what is it, the Pfizer guy, or I think it's the Pfizer guy, the COVID vaccine. Yeah, like he was a fraud. What's his name? Fauci or something? I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. But he also had stake in the Wuhan lab. Mm-hmm. So he actually funded the Wuhan lab, which we probably shouldn't talk about that on here. We'll probably get God knows with all that. But even like with the unemployment, I mean, now Michigan is going after people and wanting them to pay back the money that they gave to them. And it's like, what? Seriously? Like, you gave us this money. I can see going after people that frauded it out. I get that 150%. But I got a letter and I'm like, wait a minute. I had two judicial law hearings due to medical that approved it. So how are you coming back on it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, California did that too a while back.
You can't call them. You can't get through to anybody. There's nothing you can do unless you, again, hire another lawyer. That's the only way that you can do it. And it's like, okay, now here you are again in my life. The courts are pulling money. The state is pulling money, which is absolutely ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous all the way around. But well, in California, they're doing pretty good, I think, lately. Like they're trying to, but
Yeah.
like trying to go after people. And I guess the guy in LA and Los Angeles, the superintendent just got the DOJ just went in there and raided his whole house and everything. Did you hear about that?
No, who was it?
Some superintendent in the LA school districts. They just raided his whole house and everything. They said that whatever they're investigating is under seal for LA.
Really?
They said none of us can access it. None of us can access it. We can't get it. We don't know what it is. But they just went in there this week, raided the whole thing, guns drawn, had boxes, literally like in the movies. They had boxes. They had everything. They just went in there.
Out, they got them all with the boxes coming out, and the glasses. And that's crazy.
Yep, they went in there and they took care of business. So I don't know whatever he did. He's screwed.
So I know in your state during COVID, Newsom and Pelosi wanted to get their hair done and go to dinners. In my state, my governor wanted to put her boat in the water when nobody could even go to their cottages.
Oh my God. Pelosi's done with.
It's just crazy to me.
I need to find out if that. I need to know if that Pelosi bill was enacted. I need to know if that Pelosi bill was enacted. They proposed a Pelosi bill. Remember I told you that the senators could not do insider trading. So the Pelosi bill, I need to look it up. Hold on. I'll let you remember.
I think that was brought up during the State of the Union. And it was being made fun of because what's her face? The short-haired lady, gosh dang it. Brain fart.
I know, that's hilarious.
She was the only one that stood up as a Democrat and clapped, and they were like, was she drunk? Because Trump talked about that during the State of the Union, which I thought was pretty cool. There shouldn't be insider trading.
No.
You know. As far as our government officials go, I don't think that's right. I mean, you got people look at AOC before she became who she was making $39,000 a year. And now she's making like $39 million a year in just a couple of years difference. I mean, I wish I could go from making $100,000 a year to making $100 million.
So on April 29, 2025, it says, Republican Nancy Pelosi is not too fond of the Pelosi Act, which bars members of Congress from day trading. So they were doing daytime trading.
Well, do you remember back in the day, members of Congress and all them couldn't even have social media? They weren't even allowed to have social media. Now they can have social media, which is really weird to me. Like
crazy. I think that's why they tried to do away with TikTok, remember? In the beginning, because they said it was a violation and all these people were getting into all that stuff. Did you hear Bill Gates said sorry about the Epstein files?
Yes, I saw that. Was crazy. Well, I think the Epstein files, it's like I had to explain to my oldest daughter today or yesterday or whenever I talked to her was, you have to remember when you're a millionaire or a billionaire, you run in that circle. You're going to cross paths. It's just like if you're an alcoholic and you go to the same two bars for 20 years, you're going to run into people eventually that come in and out of those bars. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But millionaires and billionaires, they typically run in a pretty tight circle, like going to Milan and their yachts and LA and the movie stuff and they're gonna cross paths. You're gonna get a picture with them eventually standing in the same room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people just take
exactly. I don't know. It's crazy. All of this stuff is crazy. The whole world. Like, I agree. Like, I think all of that stuff, no matter, even if the president is in that Epstein files, all of that stuff needs to come to light. You know, it needs to all be out there, needs to be out in the open. Like, you know what I mean? He's already a president that's a criminal, so might as well all come out.
And I know he's been charged 94 times. I mean, shoot, like, did you know, I did some homework on this. Did you know that there are so many laws in our country that even if you think you're being like the most like
Yeah.
best citizen ever, not breaking laws, that you actually break, each American breaks 6 laws a day that you don't even realize you're breaking?
Well, there's like these, there is these, I watched a review one time, and it's like these really absurd, like weird laws, like that people have enacted and put into place. And if they can do like these weird laws and enacted them, can you imagine what they're doing with family court? Like, you know, and I made the statement the other day, like, if you really think that you're surprised about the Epstein files, you should see the family court files. The family court files are crazy, and nobody's doing anything about it, you know, because we have nobody to turn to, really. You know, and even to file like, you know, a RICO case or file anything, you have to have concrete evidence or it's not going to go anywhere. You know?
It's not letting me verify. Oh, there we go. Okay, I had to do a little puzzle thing.
Oh, I did that too. Mine did that. Yeah.
You know why they gotta do that now? Because people were taking their TikTok and going to sleep and then getting views. That is so
dumb. I saw that.
Well, what they were doing was like they would connect it to a speaker, and then if you gifted, it would like set off an alarm, or I don't know.
Yeah.
People are weird.
Yeah, it's weird, period. But like some of these laws, like there's the dumbest laws ever. Oh, did you hear the newest law in California? Well, number one, we can't have paper bags or plastic bags anymore. So we're literally struggling with our paper bags that are ripping all over the freaking place. And even my son goes, like, you literally go to lift your bags out of the trunk and there goes the handles. Like, oh my God. Like, it's like you can't even trust anything anymore. And it's like, where's our trash bag? We used to reuse those for the trash, you know, bags, you know, in the restroom. Now we have to go purchase that, you know, because we can't use paper for the restroom. But, and then the other thing too is I think they did one on declawing. It's illegal now to declaw your cat in California.
I can agree with not declawing all 4, like keep the back claws because that's defense. But declawing the front ones, I don't see why that would be a big deal, you know, especially, I mean, they got to be able to scratch and defend themselves, but, you know, I don't know, I'm an animal lover, so that to me is crazy.
In Arizona, they have a law no killing the cacti.
What? Do you know in Michigan you can't chain your alligator to a fire hydrant?
Your alligator
and we don't even have alligators. Like, it's an actual law. If you look it up, you can't chain your alligator to a fire hydrant. You can't leash your alligator to a fire hydrant, I think is the way that it's worded.
Some of this stuff is weird. No Christmas lights after January in California. How many people break that law?
I'm a redneck woman.
Right. I never known about that law, and I live in California. No Christmas lights after January. You have a $250 fine. Colorado, no snowballs. Connecticut, pickles must bounce. A pickle cannot be sold.
So a pickle cannot be sold
unless it bounces. According to 1948 article, this law became necessary after 2 scheme pickle packers tried to sell pickles unfit for human consumption. Huh? A pickle must bounce. Proclaiming that a real pickle should bounce. Delaware, no trick-or-treating after hours. Florida, you can't be annoying. Oh my God. They would all be annoying. Florida.
So
They
in
said
Michigan, it says strange Michigan laws you probably haven't heard of. It says it's illegal to be drunk on a train, but yet there's a bar. Let's see. Oh, and I do know this one exists. You can't swear in front of women and children. So I think it was like 8 years ago. So we have the Muskegon River. They have like big, huge tubing events down the river. And this guy actually got charged with using the F word towards a woman. He got charged with it. So it is an actual law in Michigan that you are not supposed to swear in front of women and children. And that woman actually took it to the nth degree and actually charged that guy. They actually charged him with that law, which was nuts to me.
wow.
Oh, you can't sell covers on a Sunday. You can't advertise your fortune telling without a license. Oh, that's a new one. I didn't know that. In Detroit, it's illegal to tie your dog to a lamppost.
So in Oklahoma, these are weird family court laws. Okay, ready for this? Oklahoma is 6-month waiting period before you remarry after divorce. Mississippi allows spouses to sue their ex-spouse's lover for damages under alienation and defamation laws. Have you heard that? Have you seen some of those? I've seen some of those stories.
Did you say that's in Mississippi?
Mississippi allows spouses to sue their ex-lover for damages. I've seen some of those cases. Have you seen them? I've seen them. They're bad.
I have. I think if you look up North Carolina, if you file for divorce, you have to live together for a year before you even go to court. They force you to live together because they want you to work it out.
Mistreatment in Kansas. Mistreatment of a mother-in-law cannot be cited as grounds for divorce. Kentucky couples must obtain a divorce education certificate before they can file for divorce. I'm like, are you serious? These are the stupidest laws ever. But that's the thing, is people can put freaking laws in there. These laws may seem outdated or even comical, but they serve as a reminder how the legal system invokes and sometimes adapts to hold on.
We got it.
Adapts to specific social situations. Too many S's in a row. It's important to note that while these laws may exist, they are rarely enforced in modern times. So
just goes to show the ridiculousness. I mean, I think when it comes to family court, I think that it's just become a money grab, and
yeah.
More than
well, I mean, even what is it? James Sexton said, he's like, some of these things, these prenups, and some of this stuff is like crazy when they put them together. He said that there was one that if every 5 pounds that the wife gained, she lost like thousands and thousands of dollars.
I am so screwed. I was like 100 pounds soaking wet when we got married years ago. So if he decided to divorce me, I'm screwed. I might as well just run away and hide. That's crazy.
I didn't know that. Before Jennifer married fellow singer Mark Anthony, he was married to actress and former beauty queen Miss Torres. After Torres and Anthony settled on the usual during the divorce proceeding, custody of their children and divisions of asset, Torres reportedly had to sign an agreement to never speak ill of Lopez or she would file a lawsuit. That sounds like Jennifer Lopez put that in there.
Right, J-Lo.
These are movie stars. A lot of these weird things are movie stars. Baywatch, Knight Rider, David Hasselhoff. I can't talk today, guys. Sorry. When I get a lot of stress going on, I cannot talk for shit, guys. My speech thing gets all messed up because my brain's overwhelmed. But the Knight Rider from Baywatch, David Hasselhoff, is that how you say it? Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Hasselhoff.
Yeah, he said part of the divorce settlement is he was able to keep the rights to all of his names, his nicknames. Malibu David? He was named Malibu David?
Oh my God, what does that remind you of?
I know. And don't hassle the Hoff. That's his. And the Hoff.
Well, I believe if you go into a marriage and you already own certain things, and this should be a given, like if you already, like say I owned my house and I owned my car and I owned all these things and I had my 401k and everything, if I decided to get married, why should everything I worked for before the marriage go to that spouse? That doesn't make sense to me. Like I can see a marital asset if you were together. Like if you accumulated certain things together, I get those assets, but why should I have to give away what I worked so hard for to somebody else before we were even married? And I think that's why prenups are like, I think prenups are important. Like if you got one person that makes X amount of money and another person, and there's a lot of assets in between the two, yeah, sign a prenup, because you don't know, you could be in your newlywed phase madly in love, but 5 years down the road, I mean, Reagan's the one that created the no-fault divorce.
Yeah, and that caught like wildfire. Everybody picked that up.
Yeah, because then it became the thing to get a divorce. You know, before it was hush hush, we don't get a divorce, you know, which in some cases was probably really bad because there was probably a lot of behind the doors things going on as far as
I wonder if this is true. I wonder if this is true in Texas. If a couple living in Texas wants to get a divorce, but the wife is pregnant, they may have to wait until the baby is born. Most courts in the state will not finalize a divorce if a child, even if it's not the husband, is on the way.
Yes, that is true. I do know that's true.
The reason is to make sure the matters regarding the child may be included in the filed divorce proceedings or ruling.
Yes. That's kind of like how North Carolina is too. It's kind of the same way, but they don't.
Oklahoma and a couple other states have a 6 months or 3 month waiting period before your divorce is finalized.
Well, they don't even finalize it. They make you live together for a year. Like it's not just like the time it takes. They just literally said you have a year to figure it out, because a lot of North Carolina is a big military state, so you get that, you know, like.
So there was 2 cases, one in New York and one in a British woman. I don't know. It doesn't say, I guess, Great Britain, that said that they wanted their kidneys back from their significant other. It says a British woman donated one of her kidneys to her husband to save his life. He survived, got better, and 4 years later left her. She was so angry, she demanded her kidney back. In a similar case in New York, a man asked that the value of the kidney he donated to his wife be included in the divorce settlement.
That's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on. That's just being stupid right there. That's stupid.
Yeah, that is kind of insanity.
But it goes back to saying, I mean, obviously you were with this person for a reason. You had a baby with this person for a reason. You love this person at one point, and now all of a sudden there's a divorce, and that's why we have all the BS in family court, is because allegations. And that's a big word, because they all mostly are allegations. Unless you have solid proof, and the courts have to allow that in, that proof, that evidence, there was something there at one point. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been married a couple times. Me and my middle daughter's dad, we literally drove to the courthouse together. We got divorced together. Like, we went and had a beer afterwards. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was mutual. We didn't want to fight. We didn't want to bring the nonsense into our daughters. You know, like, we literally wanted to make it as easy and as simple. We didn't agree on a lot of things. We weren't going in the same direction in life, but we didn't want to make her life harder by being like, you owe me this. We didn't owe each other anything. We just wanted to be apart. You know, we just weren't.
Wow. Some of these laws need to be updated. Like, seriously, guys, you guys need to take like court reform serious. In Missouri, if you get a divorce, the male still has to pay alimony, even if he is not the biological father of the child.
Yep. Michigan, I think, has a similar law.
Mm-hmm. But see, that's because those happened way back when. That happened way back when the 1920s and 1930s, when a mother
in the 1970s, when family court was really developed.
Well, no, it was 1928. Remember, from our last thing, it was put on by probation.
That's right. That's right. You're right. My bad.
We did the research on it. It was put on by the probation officers. So Oregon is a no-fault state, which means couples do not have to put the blame on anyone for wanting to end the marriage. And that's actually allowed now in like most states.
That's where I got married to. My husband is in Oregon. Do you know when you go to file for your marriage license, you don't have to do your vows?
Okay, so it says, while all 50 states allow no-fault grounds for divorce, 17 are true no-fault states, meaning that they won't allow the spouse filing for divorce to cast the blame on their partner for the end of the marriage.
Right, right.
So even though all 50 states have that, there is only truly 17 that have that.
It's just crazy.
But see, it's kind of like how they did, like they said, you know, like the jurisdiction is only in these certain courts, you know, and a lot of them have a waiting period. A lot of them have a waiting period.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said a lot of them have a waiting period, like Wisconsin, Oklahoma, like a lot of these places, they have Wisconsin has a 120-day waiting period to legally become single again once your divorce is officially granted. Like who actually goes by that in Wisconsin? 120-day waiting period to legally become single again once the divorce is officially granted. That's what it actually says here. Like, what the hell?
So divorce in our country is not regulated by money. It's more the child side of it, the children's side of it. That's where the money comes in. And that's why I feel like there should be an umbrella if you're getting federal funding for the custody side of it or DHS or anything like that. There needs to be an umbrella for all states. Now, if you want to get a divorce, nobody cares. States can make their own laws. But when you involve children and you're getting funding for it, that's where I believe that that umbrella should be put in, and all 50 states should have to follow the guidelines, which I know there are guidelines in place, but they don't really get followed because there's no oversight. They say there's oversight, but the oversight committee, most people don't know about. And then you have the JTC, you know, your judicial, you know, complaint department, which most of the time they don't do anything about anything. But as far as a divorce goes, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. Everything's crazy. I think the laws need to be updated. Everything needs to be updated.
So in
We're
Kentucky,
in 2026.
in Kentucky, yeah, in Kentucky, it's illegal to remarry the same person 4 times. 3 times is fine. You can remarry the same person 3 times, but not 4 times.
From what I hear, you can also marry your brother and sister in Kentucky, but I don't know anything about that. So you can divorce one sister, go marry another, divorce one brother, go marry another. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. I don't know. I watch too much TV.
Yeah, I know. Some of these laws are crazy. Yeah.
So, it's the same thing like what you're looking at. It's the same way how to find good lawyers and bad lawyers. I mean, a lot of people don't believe in attorneys because they've had bad attorneys. But there are ways, like you have on your link tree, how to find the lawyers that have been, either disbarred or punished. You can kind of see who those lawyers are, and you can see Michigan has the same thing. I think it was Michigan. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it was. I'll post it later what it is, but there's a way to find out good lawyers and bad lawyers and who's actually, I always say, I always tell people this, if you feel like the number, the money amount is too good to be true, it usually is. You're not going to get, it's just kind of the way society's become is, you get what you pay for.
So guess what? Me and you can go to Colorado or Delaware and say, I dare you to marry that guy. And we could be drunk off our asses and it can be annulled.
Vegas, you can get married and annulled in 48 hours.
If you marry someone on a dare in Delaware or Colorado, this is grounds for annulment. So in Michigan too?
Clark County, Nevada, Las Vegas. It's the same thing. You can get married and divorced.
Yeah, I heard about that you can annul because it's something that you did,
Britney Spears did it. My first marriage was almost annulled because he took off and nobody could find him. And dumbass me decided to find him. And he got served, and I almost had it annulled, but I was young and dumb and didn't realize what that meant.
Yeah.
Make mistakes.
Yeah, but we're still trying to do the family court stuff. I haven't looked at Tim Scott's bill in a while. Let me look at it. I don't think it's gone anywhere yet.
I looked at it the other day. It's still sitting where it should. I know Michigan's got House Bill 5211 that, we're really working on here just for the, rebuttable presumption. We got a lot of people working hard here, and I communicate with some of the people, that are working on that. It's just, like I told them, I said, I'm not really interested in if you really need me there to talk and, I'm more than happy to come and, state my case, but I'm just not, I don't think I'm very good at that side of things just because it's political and I get anxiety and we're talking about my case. And I just don't think I would be a good candidate for that. But, I'm always willing to, help in any way that I can as far as that goes. But I do know, so House Bill 5211, about, I think it was 6 or 8 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, Jim Runestad put in another bill. He's also got another one, which is Senate Bill 605 or 603. And that has to do with DHS. And I think it's Ethan's Law they're trying to pass for a child that died in foster care. So Michigan's doing things. There are people out there actually doing things. So it's just, we don't hear about it as much on the mainstream media or, your major news outlets because it's not a big deal. Like, have you heard anything on the Nancy Guthrie stuff? Like, we're like, what, a month in almost? And they don't have anything? I haven't heard much on that either. Like, I know that there was FBI there either today or yesterday. There was some stuff going on, but it just seems kind of weird to me. It just seems kind of off. Like you would think, the odds of an 84-year-old woman being kidnapped are like 0.002.
Yeah.
Like people just don't kidnap old people. Like there's no point in it. They need medication. They need all this. It's weird. It's just weird. All of that's weird to me. But again, we're living in an age that is weird, I guess, in a sense.
So there is one, it's HR 1574. I don't know what this one is. No, that's something else.
Where are you looking at?
That's a different one, I think. I was looking at the rebuttal presumption, but that's something else. The current bills in Congress.
For Michigan?
Hold on, let me look. Hold on. No, we're looking for bills in Congress.
Oh, in Congress.
Well, I know Tim Scott's currently in Congress. Tim Scott's bill is there right now, but it's not going anywhere. I don't know. It doesn't seem like these people are really doing anything that they need to. I just don't understand the whole thing about people putting down the 50-50 presumptions and the custody presumptions. Like, I don't understand that.
Those to me, the people I see, and I'm not trying to be rude and I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I think if you're against 50-50, that just shows that you're a very bitter person, unless you had something really tragically happen and the other person got custody, which I can vouch for that because you have Wendy Miller, the Wendy Miller story. Her husband was a pastor. He was very well respected in the community. The judges, it was a church thing, and he was granted custody. And unfortunately, and you were right, it was California, not Florida. For some reason, I kept saying Florida, but it was Newport Beach, Florida, that she died. And there was her and a hockey star that were unalive. But
it's mainly these women groups though, which is really, really sad because like a lot of these women groups, like there's a woman law center right here that I just found. It's in, where is this at? In Maryland.
Maryland.
They're opposing. It says the Women Law Center opposes the presumption of joint legal and equal physical custody created by this bill, SB 0521.
SB 0521. And what state was that?
This is Maryland. Says Senate bill, it's a Senate bill. Senate bill 0521 is all you have to put in. Senate bill 0521 creates a presumption of joint legal custody and physical custody for the equal periods of time for each parent. Like it's right there in the first line. Like, what are you not understanding right there? Like it's right there in the first line. It says Senate bill 0521 creates a presumption of joint legal custody and physical custody for equal periods of time for each parent. It says it right there in black and white in your letter to oppose this bill. Like, right. Come on, how come? This is the stuff that I don't understand.
Has created angry, bitter mamas that want nothing but money. And the more custody they get, the more time they get, the way that everything's written in states, the more time they get, the more money they get. It doesn't matter. We have a lot of angry, and I hate to say this because I like to stay 50-50, but you see more women doing this than you see men doing this. You don't see men going, I'm going to take her for all she's got. They're like, I just want to see my kid. Like, I just want to spend time with my kid. I'll give you whatever you want. Just let me see my kid. And a lot of times they pay a lot of money and they don't get to see their kid. Like, looking at what you're doing right now, you're trying to be, respectful and trying to do what's best for the kid. But most women, and I think it's an emotional thing, and the older you get and you get a divorce, the more bitter you become, I feel. Like it's all about the money.
It says the preference for joint custody and equal physical custody is particularly problematic when domestic violence is involved, which we understand that. We're not saying that it has to be with domestic violence. If there's domestic violence, then that goes under a different criteria. Like you're saying, if both parents, like I seen Georgia's, what's his name? Georgia, I can't remember his first name, but Georgia, the one that's doing the Georgia bill. He was going through and he was interviewing parents like in the park and all that other stuff, you know, because of the bill that he's trying to pass in Georgia. And he asked those parents if both parents are fit and proper and safe parents, do you believe that they should both have custody? They said yes, you know, which is true. It's the same way when you parent. You have a husband and a wife. You are a joint unit. It should be no difference if you decide to split. And like, so according to...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, according to James Sexton, he said that it's like if your marriage works, you're winning the lottery. You know, right. It doesn't necessarily happen. You know, how many times people get divorced and remarried and all that other stuff, you know, but
you have to work together at some point. I mean, if you have a son or a daughter, like I look at it this way, okay? I'm happy that my ex remarried. He's got a wonderful wife. She's been a great stepmother to my child. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better stepmom, honestly. She's amazing. And Addie has two families. You know, she's got her stepdad, her stepmom, her mom, and her dad. And yeah, we didn't agree at first, but I feel like we were forced into that disagreement by lawyers, by the courts, by everything, because in the beginning, we both, even though there was issues, we both kind of were on the same page of what we wanted, but we were forced into other avenues, I guess, in a sense. But I don't know. I feel like there's this whole, I don't know, there's this whole dark side that it's about money. And unfortunately, women, and I hate to say this, but women are the main culprits when it comes to dragging stuff out and wanting money, just as bad as the courts. You know, it takes a strong woman like you and like me to go, I just want what's best for my kid. And it takes a strong man to say, I just want what's best for my kid.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about the money. It's about, you know, at the end of the day, we're putting a child through something that they should never have to go through.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the sad part is like people need to like realize it and think a little bit, you know, when it comes to it. Like we always say, and I've said it multiple times, put your emotions aside and just focus on what you so that's what you're doing with the courts is it's the best interest. Like the same way you can apply those same factors, you know, like whatever you think is in the best interest of the child. You know, you guys, what happens is the courts get involved because the parents can't make a decision, you know, and that's the sad part. It's like, you know how I find it embarrassing, really, honestly. I find it very embarrassing that I still have to drag on this case for 3.5 years and I am back at ground zero. It's completely embarrassing that I have no choice but to go along with the ride and still not be divorced after 3.5 years. It's like insanity. Like I was just telling Amanda that the other day. I was like, Amanda, like, what the hell? Like, you know, because it will like, I'll be fine. And then also it'll just hit me. And then I'm like, what the hell? What the hell just freaking happened? Like this whole year.
You're not allowed to move on with your life. You're not allowed to move on with your life. You're not allowed to do anything. You have to still kind of cater to that marriage mentality to a certain point. You're not allowed to move on. And that's what's sad is you have to live, your life is stopped at that point. It's stopped. And for how many years, you know, are you dragging this on? that you are not focused on your child, or not focused on starting a new life, or not focused on the things that actually matter. Instead, you're stuck focusing on nonsense that other people are getting paid for and other people are benefiting from. It's ridiculous. But hey, it's almost 11. I didn't know if you wanted to get off or what you wanted to do, but it's getting late and I have to be up early.
All right, bye. Bye with me.
She said bye. She's like, screw you, bye. No. Are you gonna stay on for a little bit?
I had a day and a half.
I know you did. I know you did. All right. Well, like I said, I did have this on my Facebook and YouTube. So whatever clips I get, whatever clips you get, we'll just kind of exchange.
Yeah, and it's not being 50 and working all the time.
No rush, girl. And look at, see how she is. You want to go? She just goes, bye.
Bye.
That's a Cali girl right there. Bye. All right, honey.
Like, hang tough. Not kidding.
All right. All right. Bye, honey.
Good night.